Jacob Harris, Vice Chairperson of the Port Royal District. Dr. George Parker, Division Superintendent. Mr. John Copeland, member of the West Carolina District. Dr. Jawanda Rowland Phelps, member of the Breeden Church District. And I am Dolly Lindsay, Clerk of the Board.
At this time, we'll have an invocation by Pastor Mark Lawrence, St. Paul United Methodist Church.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we just give you thanks for providing for every need. In this instance, our need is education. And we just thank you for this gathering. We thank you for those that dedicate their lives to the education of our youth. We ask you to bless this proceeding, lead us and guide us. We just thank you for all things in Christ's holy name.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Lawrence. At this time, we have the Pledge of Allegiance by Lewis and Clark Elementary School. Please stand.
So I just want to quickly introduce, this is part of our Lewis and Clark ASL Sign Language Club. We have about 36 students in the club. This year we had a fall club and also a spring club, so they've only been doing this for about 3 months. They've been working on learning different things, conversations, basic school language, learning their ABCs, counting, math, learning how to interpret things about that they would use in the school and also in daily life at home. But one of the fun things they learned this year was the Pledge of Allegiance. And I've been very lucky that, my name is Miss Beasley, I teach at Lewis and Clark, and I helped initiate the club this year, but I've had fabulous people help me with it because I'm not an interpreter. I can teach kids how to read, but sign language was new to me, and so I relied on some fabulous people. Miss Sears is an official ASL interpreter for Spotsylvania County, but lives here in Caroline County. She volunteered as the head of our club. Miss Broughton is an unofficial interpreter. She also helped volunteer. She works for Intercept Services in Caroline County. And Miss Green, my other co-teacher that I teach with at Lewis and Clark, also helped with teaching all these kids some wonderful skills and helping them to find other ways to express and learn language in another way. So we will go ahead and do the pledge, guys.
Yeah?
Thank you to our Lewis and Clark students. At this time, we'll have the awards, recognition, accommodations, recognition of Carolina High School students, acceptance to college and to the military. Ms. Lindsay.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, we would like to recognize our Carrollton High School students accepted to college and military. It is recommended that the school will recognize the following students for acceptance into colleges and military. Caroline High School seniors also received over $3,568,342 in scholarships and grants, and I know that number is still going up. I'm going to defer to Ms. Betsy Short, and she's going to call those names for us.
evening, Dr. Parker, members of the board. Following students have been accepted to college from Caroline County High School. When I call your name, please come to the front to receive your certificate. Ireland Ballard. Ireland has been accepted to Averett, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Virginia Commonwealth University, Old Dominion University, Plymouth State University, the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and the University of New Hampshire. Kaylee Buchanan. Kaylee has been accepted to Randolph-Macon College. Trayvon Wilson. Trayvon has been accepted to Clemson, Longwood University, Radford University, James Madison University, Hampton-Sydney, and Bridgewater. Shelby McClung. Shelby has been accepted to Bridgewater College. Jordan Wilson. Jordan has been accepted to Virginia State University. Mackenzie Warner. Kirsten Whitaker. Kirsten has been accepted to William and Mary, Randolph-Macon, Bridgewater, Virginia Commonwealth University, the University of Virginia, Randolph College, and Hollins University. Andrew Buck. Andrew has been accepted to Hampton-Sydney College, Ferrum College, Radford University, and Regent University. Emily Johnson. Emily has been accepted to Mount St. Mary's University, Radford University, Western Carolina University, Christopher Newport University, and Shenandoah University. Andy Lynn. Andy has been accepted to Hampton-Sydney College, Virginia Commonwealth University, University of Mary Washington, University of the District of Columbia, Virginia Union University, and George Mason University. Parker. She okay. Brown has been accepted to Virginia Union University. And if you guys would just stand, and Mr. Warrington will come down and take a picture with you and Dr. Parker. Happy Tatiana.
Vice Chair Harris, there's two students in the back. I'm not sure if they are VHS college students.
Do we have any other students that may have come in?
Dr. Monroe, hold it, thank you. Look this way. Smile, look this way.
Excuse me, can you hold up? Mr. Wick needs to come down too. Mr. Wick?
Yes, Mr. Wick.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, we're recognizing our career and technical educational winners who have earned a place in recent competitions. Career and technical education students who have earned a place in recent competitions allow students to problem solve and confront work-related issues. Several students have received recognition in recent career and technical education competition. And attached, you have a list of those students.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. At this time, we'll have recognition of Caroline County Foundation for Education, Recreation, and Wellness Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mrs. Lindsay, you can help me out here. I'd like to acknowledge Caroline Education Foundation, Caroline Foundation for Education, excuse me, we have two groups, for their donation to the Beta Club National, who participate in the National Conference in Orlando, competition in Orlando this year, and that group donated $5,000 to our Beta clubs for them to travel to Orlando this year, and I'd like to acknowledge that to the board. That was very nice of that foundation to put that donation in.
And they are here to this evening, so Ms. Kate Brooks, would you please come up?
Then I will take a photo.
And Mrs. Fagan, Tamara Fagans, and Ms. Jones.
Did you want to say anything to the board on behalf of your foundation? You're welcome.
Dr. Parker, members of the board, the foundation is a board of concerned citizens who want to fill the educational, recreational, and wellness needs of Carolina community. Our members include John Bowers. We've expanded our board, so I need to look at my list. We include John Bowers, myself, Cleo Coleman, Carolyn Davis, Sherry Gravitt, Kathy Hancock, Tilly James, Dolly Lindsay, Pat Morris, Scott Moser, L.J. Moyer, David Stork, and Lit Thompson. April the 1st and October the 1st are when we consider grant application. 2 years ago, we were here when we presented $4,000 to the band for the band uniform. Earlier this year, we were pleased to read how well the Junior Beta clubs did. And as you know, 33 of them went on to do first, second, and third place, and are looking forward to participating in the national convention. To quote their teacher sponsor, Tamara Fagans, she said, "Students in 5th through 8th grades will be attending this convention in the hopes of sharing our service endeavors with other national competitors as they compete. This experience will allow them to further develop leadership skills and bring back creative service ideas to utilize in their schools and communities." We were very pleased to see that they weren't just didn't have their hand out, but they were actively pursuing funding so that everybody could go. And I actually went to the pancake breakfast that they had at Bowling Green Baptist Church, and I encouraged them to send in an application. On April the 5th, the foundation board met and we unanimously voted to award the Junior Beta clubs $5,000 towards this endeavor. We encourage these Junior Beta students to continue learning to lead by serving others, and we wish them well in Orlando.
All right, well, a little bit back to this one. One more time.
Senior Beta by Dr. George Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While I'm on the floor, I think there are a few members, Mr. Spalding, Mrs. Carson, Mr. Wick, who serve on the board of the Caroline Education Foundation. That board met on May 9th, if I'm correct, and we donated $2,000 towards the junior beta and $1,000 towards the senior beta clubs for their trip to Orlando as well. This is the second year that the Caroline Education Foundation has supported the beta efforts to participate in national competition. So it has been a great partnership, and we'd like to thank the Caroline Education for their Foundation for their donation.
We'd like to thank them also. Thank you. At this time will be recognition of School Nurses Day. Dr. Herb Monroe.
Members of the board, Dr. Parker, at this time, we would like to recognize School Nurse Day as May 10, 2017. Caroline County Public Schools honored and recognized school nurses on Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017 as part of Teacher Appreciation Week. Terrence R. McCullough, Governor, officially proclaimed May 10th, 2017 as School Nurse Day. Our nurses work closely with parents, educators, administrators, and community agencies to ensure that students in our schools are furnished with a healthy and safe environment for learning. It is recommended that the school board recognize May 10th, 2017 as School Nurse Day. The governor has the following proclamation that will be read. Whereas school nurses serve on the front lines and provide a critical safety net for our children during the school day, and whereas for more than 100 years, school nurses have worked with families and communities across the Commonwealth to advance the health, safety, and wellness that are crucial to the development and educational success of young Virginians. And whereas school nurses enhance the educational process by meeting the health care needs of students through assessments, intervention services, emergency care, and the management of acute and chronic illness during the school day. And whereas school nurses often are members of school-based mental health teams. And whereas the health of Virginia's students in protected through screening, health education, prevention programs, and effective communication between families, teachers, healthcare providers, and school administrators. Whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for every child every day. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize school nurses throughout the Commonwealth for the compassionate and dedicated service they provide to students, teachers, and communities. Now, therefore, I, Terrence R. McCullough, do hereby recognize May 10, 2017 as School Nurse Day in our Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of our citizens. So at this time, we would like to thank our school nurses. I don't know if they're in attendance tonight, but we have Mrs. Ryan from Lewis and Clark, Mrs. Cox from BGE, we have Mrs. Tender from Madison Elementary School, Mrs. Pettigrew, who serves the children at our middle school, and Ms. Jennifer Light, who serves the students at our high school. So at this time, I want to say thank you for giving me the time to recognize our school nurses.
At this time, we'll have recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week. Dr. Joanna Jones.
Good evening, Chair Harris, members of the board, and Dr. Parker. Governor Terrence R. McAuliffe has officially recognized May 8th through the 12th, 2017 as Teacher Appreciation Week in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Teacher Appreciation Week is dedicated to all the teachers in Caroline County. Our teachers exemplify the professional teaching standards by motivating, challenging, and engaging students in a rich, real-world learning environment. Caroline County teachers stand firm on their commitment to education and have a standard of excellence when teaching all children and youth. We commend the teachers for their hard work, dedication, and lifelong learning to ensure the success of our students. It is recommended that the school board recognize the teachers at Bowling Green Elementary, Madison Elementary, Lewis and Clark Elementary, Caroline Middle School, and Caroline High School. At this time, I will read the Teacher Appreciation Week proclamation. Whereas a strong and effective school system is essential to the economic prosperity of Virginia and ensures that we continue to make social, technological, and scientific advancements. Whereas qualified, dedicated teachers are the foundation of a successful school system and are fundamental to the strength of the Commonwealth. Whereas Virginia's teachers are entrusted with helping our students reach their full academic potential and exhibit an unwavering devotion to student success. And whereas teachers are essential to empowering families and communities to support our children and their potential to achieve. And whereas the Virginia Lottery, the source of nearly $8 billion for public schools since 1999, is partnering with the Virginia Tourism Corporation and the Virginia PTA for the second annual Thank a Teacher campaign to encourage Virginians to send thank you notes to teachers across the Commonwealth. And whereas Teacher Appreciation Week is an opportunity for Virginians to join with the teachers around the country on the crucial role of our crucial roles that our teachers play in shaping our children and future of the Commonwealth. Now therefore, I, Terrence R. McAuliffe, do hereby recognize May 8th through the 12th as Teacher Appreciation Week in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll have recognition of our retirees. Dr. Pat Taylor Smith.
You may want to position yourself so they see the PowerPoint behind you. Madam Vice Chairperson, members of the board, the superintendent recommends that the school board recognize and convey its appreciation for the following retirees for their many years of dedicated service. Glenda Rinaldi, Central Office, 39 years of service. Betsy Short, School Board Office, 41 years of service. Florence Sims, Bowling Green Elementary School, 30 years of service. Jennifer Vanderland, Madison Elementary School, 17 years of service. Kent Flippen, Caroline High School, 30 years of service. Kathleen Bean, Central Office, 31 years of service. Lelia Fortune, Caroline Middle School Food Service and Transportation, 40 years of experience. Mrs. Louise Jett, School Board Office Food Service, 20 years of experience. Pamela Holman, Caroline Middle School, 16 years of service. Sharon Brown Scott, Lewis and Clark Elementary School, 39 years of service. Louise Dodson, Bowling Green Elementary School, 24 years of service. Brenda Martin, Bowling Green Elementary School, 23 years of service. And last, Anise Milliner, 2 years of service. Please join me in applause for these retirees. Many of our retirees were recognized at the Employee Recognition Banquet on Tuesday, April 25th. Those in attendance received watches engraved with their names, their years of service, and the CCPS logo. Thank you.
Thank you.
They were unable to attend tonight.
At this time, we'll have recognition of support staff of the year. Ms. Lindsay.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, we would like to take this time to recognize our Support Employee of the Year nominees. Support employees demonstrate exceptional skill, dedication, superior job performance, initiative, and creativity. It is recommended that the school board recognize the following support staff of the year for their schools or departments. Bowling Green Elementary School, Audrey Fox, Instructional Assistant. Lewis and Clark Elementary, Lucretia James, Instructional Assistant. Madison Elementary, Dina Kapler, Cafeteria Manager. Caroline Middle School, Dwayne Parker, School Counselor. Caroline High School, Brian Farmer, Technology Support Technician. School Board Office, Calandra Sims, Administrative Assistant. Maintenance Department, Rob Perkins, Electrician. Transportation Department, Mildred Green, Bus Driver Trainer. The 2017 Caroline County Support Staff Person of the Year was announced at the Employee Recognition Banquet on Tuesday, April 25th, 2017. We congratulate Mrs. Calandra Sims. Please stand up and come forward.
Atlanta serves all three of us, so we wanted to be in the picture.
Oh, yes, yes.
At this time, we'll have recognition of the novice teacher of the year. Ms. Holt.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, and Dr. Parker. We'd like to recognize the Novice Teacher of the Year tonight. The Novice Teacher of the Year must have a current Virginia professional license, exceptional skills in the use of innovative practices, and methods of instruction that result in improved performance of children. The nominees were Bowling Green Elementary, Tamara Fagans, 5th grade teacher, Lewis and Clark, Amy Cooper, K-5 special education teacher, Madison Elementary, Brittany Fox, 1st grade teacher, Caroline Middle School, Jamila Kennard, 7th grade English teacher, Caroline High School, Katie Woody, 11th and 9th grade history teacher. The Caroline Novice Teacher of the Year this year for 2017-18 was Katie Woody. Her principal, Mr. Rick, writes, Ms. Woody was a 1st grade teacher, exemplifies the characteristic of a seasoned veteran. Though she has not earned the title of Master Teacher yet, she is well on her way to achieving this status as a result of her work ethic, dedication to student achievement, ability to build rapport, and reach all learners' desire to improve, as well as other trades. She could not be here tonight because she's tutoring kids. So we'd just like to congratulate her and appreciate the board recognizing her tonight. Thank you.
At this time is recognition of Teacher of the Year, Dr. Joanne Jones.
Good evening again, Chair Harris, members of the board, and Dr. Parker. It gives me great pleasure to recognize the Teachers of the Year at each of the following schools. Bowling Green Elementary School, Jamie Holmes, 1st grade teacher. Lewis and Clark Elementary School, Sarah Addison Mayer, kindergarten teacher. Madison Elementary School, Sean Taylor, 5th grade teacher. Caroline Middle School, Ms. Karen Mott, band teacher. Ms. Mott? Come on. And Caroline High School, Ms. Amy Tillapaw, social studies teacher. The Caroline County Teacher of the Year was announced at the Employee Recognition Banquet on April the 25th. We would like to give a special congratulations to Ms. Sarah Addison Mayer, who is our Caroline County Teacher of the Year. Yes, you can just come up and shake our hands, yeah. And we would like to wish Ms. Mayer the best of luck as she moves forward to compete for the Virginia Teacher of the Year. Is that it? Principals, their principals come forward. Okay.
At this time, we'll open the floor for citizens' comments.
Vice Chair Harris, there is no citizen comments at this time.
Okay. Going once, going twice? All right, moving forward. Consent agenda, approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Second vote, please.
Dr. Rollins Fowles,
Aye.
Mrs. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Spalding,
Aye.
Mr. Copeland.
Aye.
Action items. Approval of the end of the year adjusted day schedule. Ms. Carson. Ms. Carson is not here, Dr. Carson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. At our last special call meeting, the board approved an adjustment to the last week, the final week of school, an adjusted schedule, which when we conferred with principals at that time, we found that it would be a significant encumbrance on the schools to implement the adjusted schedule. The formal method of retracting that agreement would be to bring it, to have motion brought forward in the formal meeting by board members, seconded and approved to remain on the set schedule for the final week of school.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of the end of the year adjusted day schedule for May 22nd to the 24th, 2017.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Dr. Rollins Fowles,
Aye.
Mr. Copeland,
Aye.
Mr. Spalding,
Nay.
Ms. Harris.
Aye. Motion carried. Approval of support of the Junior Beta Club. Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was recommended at a previous workshop that the board consider, and a request made during citizens' comments by the sponsor of the Beta Club, for the board to consider a donation to the junior and high school Beta Club to compete in Orlando for nationals. As of date, I'm aware that the Board of Supervisors has donated $6,000 towards Beta's efforts to raise funds. And you've seen earlier this evening that the foundations that support Caroline County Public Schools have come forth with contributions as well. So at this time, for board consideration, any donations to the junior Beta and high school Beta clubs for their national competition.
Madam Vice Chair, I move we approve the donation to the Junior and Senior Beta Club in the amount of $2,000 for the elementary and middle, and $1,000 for the senior beta.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Dr. Rothfeld?
Aye.
Mrs. Harris?
Aye. I need to back up one. I skipped over approval of homeschool request.
That goes consent.
Oh, that was my consent, okay. All right, approval of the FY18 school division operating budget. Mr. Martin.
Good evening, Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker. So, we meet again. Let's go around the block one more time. Some of these slides I'm about to present you with, we have been the topics of discussion at various meetings we've held, going back to last November. As you know, the Board of Supervisors a couple weeks ago passed their budget and approved their appropriation to the schools for fiscal year 17-18. So it was at that point in time that we could really make a determination of what our anticipated revenue is going to be for the upcoming fiscal year, and that obviously is the number that puts the parameters on what we're able to plan to accomplish in the next fiscal year. So we get out the pencils one more time, and the time has come to approve the budget for fiscal year 17-18. I'll walk you through some of the items that are significant in this document, and some of them we've seen before. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions at any time. Okay. So on slide number 2 in your packet, just want to touch on a couple of points that we've made before. The county did pass their budget, and they passed a 1 cent increase in the real estate taxes, which equates to about $250,000 increase in revenue for the county. Overall, the general fund revenue for the county is projected to increase by a little over $1.3 million over the current year. We have filed the average daily membership report for the current year, fiscal year 17, and based on that and looking back at some recent history, the budget that you passed as a board back in February was based on a projected ADM of 4175. We decided to be a little conservative and bump it down to 4165. But because of the generosity of the General Assembly this year, even though we knocked down the projected ADM by 10, the projected revenue from the state is still expected to be $21,726 over the amount the budget improved in February, which was based on the governor's proposed budget, which came out in December. As things currently stand on the county side, the additional appropriation is $566,794 more than the current year, of which $447,285 is available for operations. $11,000 of that is an increase in the cost of bus leases, and $108,000 is an increase in the line item for purchasing buses. Major revenue sources, slide you're pretty familiar with. In our case, the state is providing 57% of our funding, and the county is providing 31% of our funding. That state percentage is higher than a lot of districts. State funding is based on a combination of the size of the student population and the county's ability to contribute to school funding. That ability or capacity is assigned a number, which is called the local composite index. Our local composite index is slightly over 0.32, or 32% we're expected to contribute to the support of SOQ school categories. The state contributes more to less affluent districts. Statewide, the majority of funding comes from local funds. That's not the case here. What we're asked to contribute as a percentage is modest compared to many other school divisions. State averages are state 42%, local 52%, federal 6%. In fiscal year 16, we contributed $2,861 per pupil in county funding, which was actually a decrease of $53 per pupil from fiscal year 15. The state average for fiscal year 16 was $4,903, and there were 21 of 132 school districts across the Commonwealth that invested less in local funds per pupil than did Caroline. And the Virginia Education Association, that crunches a lot of numbers and provides a lot of useful information, says that the county has the financial capacity to put us somewhere around rank 80th out of 132. And we're standing at about 111, 112. The next two slides are the budget. The first slide, which is slide number 4 in your paper, is the revenue. Really, it's about split between the state and the county, but remember, a fair portion of that $566,794 from the county is really not available. It's going to put a bus on the road, and it's going to take care of the increase in our bus lease obligations. So a total increase of 2.56% over the current year, $1,133,863 more in revenue. So that really, combined with other potential savings that perhaps we can identify in the line item budget, is what's available to pursue accomplishing things on our wish list for the upcoming year. I won't get to a detailed list of that in just a minute. On the next page is the allocation of the revenue among the major expenditure categories. You'll see that the two categories that increase to any significance is instruction and transportation. The reason for that is because one of the things we're going to accomplish next year, pending your blessing, is to give pay raises to the paraprofessionals and to the drivers. So other than that, what you see in the other line items is mostly attributable to the increase in the VRS. For next year, approximately $500,000, and that filters all through just about every line item in the budget. So other than those two major areas, there really isn't a lot going on compared to the year we're in. This is a slide that I just created. It's always been a little bit confusing when we have conversations with the Board of Supervisors about how much more money they gave us, but then how much of that money do we really not have any control over? And so I kind of went back a couple of years and broke it out. I intend to keep this history going as the years go by. It's interesting to look at to just see. It's a helpful piece of data to have when having conversations with the Board of Supervisors as far as how much funding we really have that we have some latitude as far as to what use we're going to put that. And this just is the same thing, really, just put it a little bit different way. The net operational funding in the current year, $606,000 additional revenue from the state, $721,000 from the county. So a total increase of $1.3 million. But 147,000 of that was dedicated to the increase in VRS, 35,000 increase in bus lease, 186,000 increase in bus purchases, and $137,500 in increases in health insurance premiums, which left us with a $1.3 million increase in revenue, but really about $800,000 available to fund operations. In the proposed budget before you, again, we've got the $1,133,863 in total increase in revenue. $500,000 of that is expected to go to the increase in VRS costs, 11,000 again in the bus lease, 108,000 in the bus purchase. So you see that when we get to the bottom line, we're actually getting an increase for operations about $300,000 less than we received for this current year. So the net increase for operations is $514,354, and that really consists of more funding for operations from the state in the amount of $567,069, and a decrease from the county in the amount of $52,715. So, this is our game plan. You know, I should have mentioned on the previous slide that we're blessed to not be facing an increase in health insurance for this year, because otherwise we would have had to take some additional items off this list in front of you. But knock on wood, we've got a good track record with the local choice, and hopefully that continues. So, the game plan again, the non-negotiable estimated increase in the VRS, $500,000. We've known about that for a couple of years. Knew it was coming. The $267,281 in funding for the bus drivers will move them from being the lowest in the surrounding counties to more competitive salary in comparison to the surrounding school districts. The same is true for the adjustment for the paraprofessionals of $125,176, and in addition to moving them to a more competitive salary, $8,500 will be used to provide a bit more pay to those who have advanced degrees. The content, you can see that we're adding a couple positions. We're adding one information tech aide. That's part of the one-on-one initiative. We're going to need more technical expertise in the classrooms to help the teachers make that transition. We're adding one gifted teacher, one K through 12 ESL teacher, and a secondary admin assistant for testing. The stipends and substitutes for 15 content liaisons, that are stipends that will be paid to teachers who will be working on curriculum and textbook adoption committees. And now we've got a little bit of money budgeted for an addition to athletics. You see the total of $1,161,957 exceeds the increase in revenue by about $28,000, and that difference is addressed via small budgetary reductions in numerous line items. These are some places where we may see a little bit of room come up as we begin next year and proceed through the year. You know, we haven't really put the pencil to paper yet to compare what we were paying teachers who chose to retire this year with what the replacements will be, but there's typically some savings that is realized in that area. We have historically had an incentive bonus paid to teachers who didn't miss any school during the year. We're going to tweak that program a little bit. We're not eliminating it, but we do expect to realize savings in the neighborhood of $10,000. And we're fortunate, as you know, we've talked about it before, we had some money in the Anthem escrow account. The two items, the $57,000 and the $12,000, have been in budgets that have been submitted to you before. But in order to accomplish the things on the list that we just went over, we took those items out and we'll pay for those out of the Anthem escrow account. So one last slide with numbers on it. That list totals a little over $2.4 million. We have been looking at that number for a long time, since last November, when all the data gathering had been done from all the schools and all the stakeholders. I thought it would be useful to have that in there, because all the items that are highlighted in yellow are things that we hope to do in 2017-18, but they are not in the budget, and we don't have any cause to think that we're going to be able to accomplish those things. Obviously, at the top of the list is a step increase for all eligible employees. It was $607,000. We did a great job in this current year. We addressed the issue of salary compression. We got everybody in the steps they were supposed to be, and we gave them a step increase, and we're just, teacher salaries just going to be flat funded this year. There's a admin assistant that we're hoping to get, and you can read down the items. It's really all people. It's really all investments of people. So, to the extent we look at our staffing and we look at our student population and we look at our needs and how to enhance our educational effectiveness, obviously we feel that we need these people and these things to be done in order to accomplish that. And we just don't have the resources to put those items in place for 17-18. But they're not going to go away. That's the point. There'll be, most of those items will be on our budget request next year. November, December, we'll be looking at it again. So, in closing, while we will address some important issues with this budget, there remain some important items that are unfunded. As we work on the line item budget over the summer, we intend to build the line item budget from scratch, something that should be done every so often. During the course of that work, we will look hard, as we always do, for other areas where money can be saved, and those dollars redirected to other areas of need. We will certainly keep the board informed, as always, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. And I will, after any questions, I will request that the board approve the fiscal year 18 budget as presented here this evening.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that we approve this budget for coming year 17-18.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Dr. Ronfeld?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Motion carried. At this time, we'll have payments related to CHS construction by General Code.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, I'm here tonight seeking approval for the payments to CHS renovation project. The amounts are $242,357.67 to Southwood Building, Mobile Mini for $273.02, OWPR $5,000, ECS $940, Ferguson $8,051.14, Martin Marietta $277.80, Nikon $9,970.67, and APV for $1,150, and for Poltech in the amount of $3,350. should give us a total of $271,370.30.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for payments related to CHS construction projects. CHS construction projects in the amount of $271,320.28.
Seven.
What is it, three?
271,370.26.
No, you got a second paper, you got to correct it, update it, should be on the table. $271,370.30, correct, Mr. Holman? Yes.
I'd like to amend my previous motion. That.
It's been it's been amended and seconded. Any questions? I have this. How much to date has OWPR been paid? Do you have any idea?
For the high school project, $1,056,856.25.
Okay. That's passed. Ready for the vote? Call for the vote, please.
Dr. Brown Fells?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye. Motion carried. At this time, Mr. Holden, payments related to Madison Elementary construction.
Yes, we have one pay request to communication specialist for $61,898.
Madam Chair, I move for payments related to Madison Elementary School construction projects, the amount of $61,898.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions?
Mr. Holman, is this the last bill for Madison?
No, sir.
Okay, all of the, everything's been completed and so forth and all?
No, there's still some work outstanding that they've got to do. There's a punch list items that they've got to complete, the topsoil around the building. I was going to get to that in a later report, but there's some things that we're pushing them to try to get it done there.
Or they're dragging their feet?
Yes, sir. That's why there has not been a payout approved for them in the last several months.
Okay, that's good.
Any other questions? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Dr. Brown Fells?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mrs. Harris?
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Holman. At this time, we'll have the approval of the special education plan. And that should be Lori Glass.
Evening, board members. I'm back. Ms. Glass isn't able to be in attendance tonight. I was in contact with her over the weekend. She asked me to take care of board agenda items number F and G. First one is item F, which is approval of the special education annual plan each year per regulations governing special ed programs for children with disabilities in Virginia. Localities and school districts must submit a yearly request for funding to fund the program and assurances that we will comply with the terms of the grant, and a summary of how funds granted will be spent. So the annual plan has two components. It is Part B, Section 11, flow-through funds, and the amount of that plan anticipated for fiscal year 17-18 is $910,100. The Part B, Section 619, Special Ed Preschool, is a plan to be funded by the grants in the amount of $17,452. So on her behalf, I ask that the board approve the special education annual plan for fiscal year 17-18.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of the special education annual plan.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Dr. Rollins-Fells?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye. Motion carried. Mr. Martin, approval of Parent Resource Center Grant Award.
Yes, ma'am. This was a grant application that was submitted to the VDOE for IDEA special education funds to support the March 2017 Family Fair Project in the amount of $2,700. And we ask that you approve those funds so that we can use those grants to help support that event.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of the Parent Resource Center grant award in the amount of $2,700.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Dr. Rollins-Fells?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mrs. Harris?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. School nutrition program bid approval for the school year. Mr. Connor.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is the first matter that I'm bringing before you this evening, seeking approval for our food bids for the 2017-18 school year. Before you see the listing of the vendors that have replied and successfully replied for the bid process. We're looking at RS Food Services, our primary vendor, Pet Dairy for dairy products, Loving's Produce for fresh produce, RS Food Service also for supplies, and Tidewater Wholesalers as our paper and disposable goods for the year.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of the school nutrition program bid for the school year 2017-2018.
Second. It's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Dr. Rollins-Fells?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll have the policy for JHCD medication administration policy. Dr. Monroe.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker. This evening, I bring to you policy JHCD, Medication Administration Policy. An overview of proposed revisions to JHCD Medication Administration Policy was shared during the April board meeting that included revisions to the current policy and recommendations from the CDC for your review. Hopefully the revisions and additions have been reviewed and meet the expectations of the board. If there are no questions, I would like to ask the board for approval of all revisions and additions to JHCD Medication Administration Policy.
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of policy JHCD Medication Administration Policy.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Dr. Rollins-Fells?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mrs. Harris?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll have the wide area network and internet access contract. Wade Mary.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Parker. An E-rate funding request and a request for proposals was released earlier this year seeking wide area network services and internet access services. Only 2 proposals were received, reviewed, and evaluated. Tonight, we're requesting the board's approval to enter into a contract to lease wide area network services and internet access services from the division's current provider, Unite Private Networks. This contract's term will be 36 months with 2 automatic 12-month renewals totaling 60 months or 5 years. The contract term begins July 1, 2018. Wide area network service pricing has been reduced from our annual $152,000 to $106,000, a price reduction of roughly $45,000. There has been no change to the pricing for internet access services. Any questions?
Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval of the wide area network and internet access contracts contingent upon E-rate funding.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Call for the vote.
Ms. Copeland, was that you?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Dr. Rowland-Fells?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Slade. At this time, new business, the first read for approval or to obtain a permit from VDOT to add to the school zone. Mr. Holman?
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, here tonight for a first read to gain approval to, I guess really what we're doing is modifying the permit we have for the existing school zone signs in front of Caroline High School. We've been requested by a number of law enforcement agencies. Those signs, I think, are probably the original signs we put up a number of years ago, and they're rather ineffective, especially in foggy weather. So we've been asked to look at upgrading those, and we actually have purchased the material. We just need to get a permit approved by VDOT so that we can. We'll be relocating them a little bit further away from the school to increase the size of the safety zone, and we'll also be adding a sign. And at this time, we don't know whether it's going to be a blinking sign or a static sign on Goldensville Road, so to notify drivers that they're entering the school zone from that street. So we need your approval to sign the permits and keep that project moving forward.
We go ahead and vote on that now, or do you prefer us to wait till next month?
It's fine if you vote on it now.
I move for approval to obtain permit from VDOT to add school zone flashing lights.
Second.
Questions?
Question, Mr. Honan, how far, they needed to be lengthened many years ago. How far are you moving?
The maximum the code allows us to move them is 600 feet, and we intend to go to the end of that, which will put it much further down 207 in both directions.
In both directions?
Is there any, the rule is 600 feet from the end of the school property, so if we go to I guess it would be the far west corner of the student parking lot, and then go 600 feet down, it puts us well down into that, where that agricultural field is, it puts us back that way quite a bit further. And then the same thing on the other side, using Dales 3 Jump Road as a demarc, we'll go 600 feet further down that way.
Call for the vote.
Has it been seconded yet?
Yes. Motion's moved and second. Call for the vote.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Dr. Rowland-Fells?
Aye.
Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Holman.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
now that that has been approved, how long will it take to have it in place? What's the turnaround time from VDOT?
There's no reason to believe we shouldn't have it installed before the start of the next school term.
Fabulous, thank you.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Honan, grant easement to accommodate the national gas.
Yeah, it's been, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Parker, I guess you'd say it's been a long time to get to this point with this one, but we've received the easement request from the gas company to extend the gas line across school property. As you know, the beginning of the project will be down here across from the animal shelter, proceed past transportation. All of that is county property, and we have submitted a request to the county and also paperwork to the county to get them to approve that portion. And then our portion starts here at the corner of middle school property, proceeds, and they intend now to proceed all the way up to 207, go down in front of the high school, and then supply the gas to us from that direction.
Mr. Ronan, this is another one, because this is something we've talked about for a very, very long time. So is this something that you would want us to wait till next month? Okay, I move, Madam Vice Chair, I move for approval to grant easement to accommodate natural gas.
Second.
Questions? Motion, call for the vote.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Dr. Ronzell? Aye. Mrs. Spalding?
Aye.
Mrs. Harris?
Thank you.
Motion carried. This time we'll have the policy for the JEB entrance age admission of persons not of school age. Ms. Lindsay?
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker, this is an overview of a proposed revision to policy JEB entrance age admission of persons not of school age is provided for your review. The revision addresses the enrollment of children who have reached their 5th birthday on or before September 30th of any school year as specified in the compulsory attendance statute of the Code of Virginia. And if you look at the copy, I gave you a copy of file JEB policy, and you can see in red where the changes were, and then a strikeout of taking out for students that can actually try to enroll if they're over, if they don't reach their 5th birthday, like September, October, November.
Okay. All right. Moving forward, the first read of the price adjustment for school lunch, Mr. Connor.
Hey, good evening again, Madam Chair, member of the board. As part of this presentation, or this request this evening, this first reading, Dr. Parker had asked that I give you a short presentation. I know it's getting late, so we'll try to keep it short. I did give you a hard copy, but we're going to go through here quickly. I'll just give you kind of an update on where the school nutrition program stands and where some of these fundings are going. Go ahead, start. Just a quick rundown of some of the special events that we did this year. Some of them you've probably seen before, or items that are very popular, like the mobile milking van, National School Lunch Week, and things of that nature. We've also done some additional items. For example, we did a taste testing with parents at Madison, which is a new thing we're going to start incorporating each year as part of the open house process. We've continued with our menu development, trying to bring in new foods that appeal to the children. We don't want to see any of that food in the trash. The idea is to find things that they enjoy. For example, we did a mac and cheese bar at the middle school, which they really liked. We did a sandwich bar at the high school, and we've moved. Oh, they're sneaking in on us. And we've worked to improve the pizza products that we're offering, and have received some very positive feedback on that. One of the items that we actually offered to the parents at the Madison Open House was a new pizza product, and it was very well received. They really liked it, and it's actually increased our teachers eating lunch. It was actually that well received. Next slide. One of the ways we've invested some of our money this year, money from the department, is into our renovations. Of course, we have completed the renovation at the Madison Elementary cafeteria. We installed a new dual serving line there, brand new milk coolers, new sinks, and upgraded the decor. That was an investment from the food service department of approximately $70,000 this year. Our next project up is to work on the seating area at the cafeteria in the high school. As part of the high school renovation. That's still in the design stages. This gives you a little idea of the new layout. We will utilize some of the existing tables combined with some new tables, following what Dr. Parker had seen in some of the nicer schools in the Tidewater area. We'll be installing some booths as well as some high-top tables, which gives us some flexibility, really give it a little more of a restaurant appeal. And we are seeking feedback from the students and some of the other members as we go into this project. First, the number one thing that we wanted to invest in is our staff, and we do want to thank the board for their approval of phase 1 of our salary scale adjustment, which we discussed at the last board meeting. And we are continuing with professional development of our staff members. This gives you a little rundown of where the division stands as far as our free and reduced history, which of course has a dramatic impact on our federal funding. As you can see, we dropped from 53 in 2015 to just below 50% in 2016. Now there is a new development along those lines. Virginia is part of a nationwide test where we will be including certain groups of Medicaid as qualifying for, or as a qualifying factor for the free and reduced status of the students. An initial data run was done the 1st of May, and it generated 174 additional students qualifying for benefits. So it's a pretty significant increase. So we may actually see that number next year jump back up to the 53. Next slide, please. This gives you a little idea of the history trends, the historical trends of our revenue and expenses. As you can see, we're doing a pretty good job of spending the money as it comes in. Don't seem to have too many problems with that. But it is, we are keeping the department financially stable and self-sustaining. And here we come down to the kind of the meat of the matter, if you will, looking at our plan for price adjustments. As you know, you hear me come up here every year talking about the Healthy and Hungry Free Kids Act and what the government guidelines establish. We are fortunate in that due to the historical financial stability of the department, they are not pushing us as much this year as they have in years past. The actual spreadsheet would dictate that we do a 10% price increase, but because of our reserves, because of again, our historical trend of increasing prices where we stand right now, they have agreed to a 5 cent price increase. And the biggest change that's highlighted in yellow up there this year, and this corresponds or goes hand in hand with a change we made last year, is that we are moving our reduced price students to a no-charge status. As you may recall, 2 years ago, you approved moving breakfast to a no cost. That was very successful. We're 2 years into that now, and next year we'll be rolling that out for the lunch. So that kind of a very, very critical or very sensitive economic group will no longer have any cost associated with their meals. And that's it. Thank you. Do you have any, well, again, this is a first read, but do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Gahn. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any statistics on the increase in the breakfast since we are not charging students?
It's interesting. That category looked like we served about an additional 2,000 meals this year. Which is pretty significant for that particular category. We went from 17, I'm using round numbers here, 17,000 to approximately 19,000.
Thank you.
I have to say I'm kind of surprised that Medicaid recipients weren't originally included in the calculation, but that's a pretty good economic barometer.
Especially since they've already done all the work on it. It's been surprising. There are certain states that have been doing this for some time now, so it's just the government moves slow. It's like a glacier. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gahn.
Thank you.
Okay, first read policy for the JEDR attendance policy. Dr. Monroe.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair Harris, members of the board. Tonight I come before you actually with Roxanne Carter, one of our student support specialists. I asked her to join me this evening because she has been working in the trenches with this attendance policy. But the rationale of the first read tonight is an overview of proposed revisions to JEDR attendance policy is included for your review. Based on recommendations from the CCPS Attendance Committee, after a comprehensive policy, practice, and document review, a need was identified to have one comprehensive attendance policy. The revised document lists consistent grade level procedures for the 3 elementary schools, the middle school, and high school in one easy-to-read document. The revised policy also includes templates that will document the chronology of the actions taken for each student and their family. The committee was made up of attendance clerks, student support specialists, social workers, counselors, teachers, administrators, and parents. As the committee facilitator, I would like to present the revised attendance policy, JED-R, and supporting documents to the board for first read this evening. The committee has worked long and hard to create one comprehensive and consistent Caroline County Public Schools attendance policy and appreciates the board's review of the revisions, additions, and supporting documents with the hopes that the revised policy in its entirety will be approved upon second reading.
Mr. Monroe, on page 8E, I have a question where it said this conference, the parent, guardian, and student will be in a meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you proposing that kindergarten, first grade be in a meeting discussing their absence with their parents? Because I really think there should be a little higher grade level. Or all students, or maybe middle and high?
Well, I think there are certain conversations that may be appropriate for younger students, and there may be some conversations that may not be. I think that may be based on the judgment of the adults in the room on whether or not they think the child should or should not be involved in the actual conference. I know right now, Ms. Carter, if you would like to share, I know that there are several elementary schools now who actually have conferences once families get to a certain point where they bring the parent in, the grandma in, and at times the students in, just on the back end of the conference to share what the decision is and what the family plan is going to be. So if it means that, Susie's going to now turn her phone off, even though she may be in second grade, she might still have a cell phone, but that means that the phone goes away. And it means that maybe bedtime is adhered to and other behaviors in the home are adhered to as well. Because what the whole focus of the policy is really to be a support and to be proactive in helping families to ensure that their children are in school. Because what we find is it may not be the child, especially on the elementary level, it's really the habits or sometimes the challenges that the family may have. And we want to be proactive in providing the supports to make sure the children are in school.
Yeah, but I don't think a kindergarten or pre-K, even a first grader, should be in on that because there's nothing they can do. It would only upset them to meet and, to know that they can't get to school when they want to. They can't control a parent or a guardian by any means.
I agree.
And that's just a little, I think it should be a little, maybe a change there.
Okay.
And also on, why did we choose 10 days for extra notification? That's on the page 8E. Upon the 10th absence, without being excused, why did we take that number 10 and not a lesser number?
Right, that's for excused absences.
Excuse.
Yes, ma'am. And Ms. Carter, if you want to speak to that a little bit, because I know Ms. Carter is the student support specialist. There are different mandates and laws that we must follow for unexcused, but we felt that if you're absent, you're absent, and it does have an impact on your academics as well. The state laws, if you can correct me, I don't know if they govern us for excused absences. Right, but we only follow the state mandate for unexcused. But we still would like to do everything in our power to try to ensure that students are coming to school and coming to school on time. But Ms. Carter, would you like to add to that at all?
Regarding the excused absences, we pulled some attendance policies for counties that had similar demographics, like Louisa, Culpeper, Orange County, and we just kind of compared to see what they were doing, and they were addressing excused absences at the number 10, because normally they are for illnesses family emergencies, and we don't want to burden the families by asking for documentation when we've already gotten the documentation. The state law, we wanted to encompass into our policy because that mandates that we have action after the 5th unexcused absence.
Okay.
And if I may speak on the elementary, normally we don't have kindergarten and first graders. We use our discretion. It's usually 4th or 5th grade when it's the student refusing, and we will pull them in
Oh, yeah.
into our conference.
But it's the younger ones I'm worried about.
But
Yes, ma'am.
when you say, I'm no expert, by any stretch of the imagination, the thing of it is, 99 and 9/10%, it's ever who they're living with, parents, grandma, whomever. That's who the problem is, because you can't tell me that a kid, oh, I'm not going to school today. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
That
And-
would work in my household.
Exactly. And we do have that when we look at it and we say it is the parent. But as a division, we would have to talk to the attorneys to see if we were going to decide to go after the parent, and that would be the student support specialist going to the magistrate and pursuing charges against the parent.
Well, how does the court system handle that now? Because I know it used to be, it was a waste of time.
Currently, we prepare CHIN's petition, Child in Need of Supervision, and we go to the Mike Finn at Court Services. We get a court date through the clerk, and we go before the judge. And basically, and that's why we have this form, we document everything we've done to show that we've exhausted everything with the family. We go to the family assessment planning team after the conference if they continue to have unexcused absences.
So the court system has been favorable to that then?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, appreciate that.
Thank you
I
for the
have
opportunity.
Just one other thing, do you all ever send certified letters? Because I know sometimes people will say, oh, I didn't get that letter, I didn't get that letter, but if you send a certified letter, they have to sign for it, and then they can't say they didn't get it.
Yes, we have thought about that, and it's a matter of our budget, but it is something that we have talked about. But I know our current practices, if we have not received them, or we have parents that say that, we as the student support specialists will do a home visit and take it to the home.
Right, okay. Thank you, because I know you have the frequent flyers that sometimes you...
Yes, ma'am, you're
Thank
correct.
you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any more questions for Dr. Romero? I think we're good, thank you.
Thank you. And I want to publicly thank Ms. Carter for her gift of time. She is amazing, and everything that I've asked or any data that I've needed, she's gone above and beyond to provide the information that the committee needed to make these final documents. So thank you, Ms. Carter.
Thank you. So now we're going to have an update on the construction projects at CHS and MES. And Mr. Herman, we get to do a double header, huh?
Chairman Carson, Ms. Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker. I'm here tonight to bring you an update on the renovation progress at both Addison and the high school. Starting with the high school, work continues on the second floor in the science labs and the classrooms on the second floor. Southwood hopes to have those completed, turned back over to us by the end of next week. They have replaced all the casework in the science labs, replacing the windows on the second floor. All our rooms received new lighting, new ceilings, new air conditioning, paint, and door hardware. The next phase we'll move into, as school winds down, is to move into the CTE wing and go through those CTE labs. We will be creating a nursing lab. We'll also be doing some work in the cafeteria. If you saw Mr. Connor's slide earlier, we're going to improve the size or increase the size of the cafeteria by taking out a couple classrooms on that back hallway, and so the dining area will become almost like a C shape or a U shape. And in that area that we're adding, we're doing as much as we can to try to get, open that space up as much as possible, but the structure of the facility limits some of what we can do. These are just, again, just some random shots of some of the new areas, the exterior at night, things like that. This is all high school, obviously. This is some of the new furniture that we've recently purchased. While you're looking at those, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but in the meantime, I'll move on to Madison. As I indicated earlier, we've been pushing the contractor to try to finish up at Madison. I had a walkthrough with the site contractor last week. I've got OWPR civil engineers coming this week. And there's some work to be done on the exterior of the building. The topsoil and the dirt around the school was rejected because due to the quality of that soil. There's some other areas that the soil needs to be restabilized because of we got rains at inopportune times, and there's a drainage swale that runs across the back of the bus loop that needs to be regraded, as does some of the area adjacent to the faculty parking lot. And in doing so, the site contractor informed me that he has to put a relief spillway on the dam. And as you may know, we just got the fence put up around that pond, so we're going to work with that. We did, however, get the contractor to agree to put the lettering on the front of the building, which indicates Madison Elementary School. There's a flagpole on the way, and they did they painted all of the interior hallways of the existing school and the door frames around the existing part of the school. So we did get some concessions out of him for those things. And again, these are just kind of random shots. That's some of the new casework in the science labs. Goes along with what you heard earlier tonight.
While you're doing that, when is Randy planning on doing the staining on the bricks? Because I know he talked about that.
Thank you for reminding me about that. I had, we had one sample done, as you know, and that was not satisfactory. So I've had conversations with the contractor. He was going to try to come back this past weekend, but the weather precluded that because the masonry was just too wet from all the rain Friday and Saturday. But he was going to try to come up Sunday afternoon and restain a portion adjacent to the new wall, so with a much lighter color. So that's some work going on in the stairwells. The existing 4 stairwells are getting part of what we had to do to meet code is we had to add sprinklers in those stairwells. So in the process of doing that, we're now going to put there'll be new lighting and new ceilings installed in those stairwells. And there I think we're back to the beginning. I don't know if I mentioned it last month or not, but the co-op has been in and installed all new site lighting around the student parking lot. So we now have, and across the front of the building, obviously, but from the Korean War Memorial all the way down to the end of the student parking lot and around the student parking lot has all been upgraded to LED lighting. So it's state-of-the-art lighting.
It looks really nice at night. It's really bright.
Yeah, this one isn't quite as bright as Madison.
No, not quite, but
I think it's well done, yes. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much. Mr. Martin, are you ready to give us some updates? Thank you.
Chairman Carson, Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, Dr. Parker. Presenting to you tonight the budget status report as of April 30th, 2017. 2 more months to go in the fiscal year after these numbers. Everything that I look at tells me that things are proceeding pretty much according to plan. Our revenues year to date through April 30th, $37,805,096, which represents receipt of 85% of our budgeted revenue to date. You might notice one change, which is that as of April 30th, the appropriation from the Board of Supervisors for fiscal year 17 has been appropriated and moved to our accounts in full. Historically, they've kind of done it a little bit after the fact, and we've had a number of conversations with the Board of Supervisors, and I think we're just going to probably go to a quarterly appropriation from the Board of Supervisors, and hopefully we can convince them to do it at the beginning of a quarter rather than at the end of the quarter, so that when we come along to this point in the looking down the end of the road and for year-end planning and stuff, the appropriation has taken place. So we know it's there, it's tangible, and we can bank on it. So 85% of our revenue has been realized, and our expenditures year to date, $35,826,702, which is 81% of our expenditures. And we'll look at the next page, which is the little graph, that 81% of expenditures stacks up really nicely compared to where we were a year ago. You look at the 2 graphs on the right-hand side, that's where we stood a year ago, 2015-16. We'd received almost the identical percentage of revenue, 85.17%, but we had spent 84.22% of our expenditures. And this year, as we just saw, we've brought in 85.21% of our revenue, and our expenditures are at 80.75% of the budget. So I think that's looking pretty good. Happy to answer any question.
JD, how did we manage to get an extra $127,000 out of defense?
That's people applying for grants, making modification in their plan, like the plan that you guys approved tonight for special ed. You can read in the paperwork that that annual plan kind of gets the thing rolling. It gets the big rocks taken care of, if you will. But as the year progresses, they offer opportunities to apply for additional grants. Sometimes they even just do it on their own initiative, and you just get an announcement that say, hey, we got some money. This is what you need to use it for. If you're interested, send us your paperwork, and maybe we'll send you some money. So
sounds good to me. Thank you.
It does change. We good? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I apologize for being late, but court was running late, and so was the judge, so I just had to come late. And Ms. Harris has done an awesome job. At this time, we'll move on to board comments. And okay.
In light of the CTE recognitions today, I think it's fitting that we recognize Dr. Monroe and Vice Principal Just for working diligently to ensure that CTE students, most notably students in the electrical program, are given a new opportunity to intern with the regional electrical contractor as part of their education. As I understand it, these students will be receiving on-the-job training that will give them credit towards an apprenticeship in the apprenticeship programs, and 1 year's worth if they complete an entire year of a 4-year internship program for electrical contractors. That's a standard, sort of like college for electrical contractor. And they're going to get a paycheck to boot. Mr. Joss and Dr. Monroe, they work with a gentleman named Mr. Tom Blackstone, who's a retired founder of B&B Electric in Ashland. And I learned that he works closely with sister counties in their workforce development program. And RCTE students are going to, of all trades, will benefit from this connection with our community professionals in a way we have yet to consider. Dr. Monroe and Vice Principal Just, thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments they'd like to make?
Madam Chair, I do. I just wanted to, again, I try to make sure that we recognize those that contribute in funding to our students. So thank you to the Carolina Education Foundation. I have a few reminders. Just to encourage the board to attend the Local Heroes event that will be happening over the weekend. It is a red carpet recognizing community members. Ms. Mott is no longer here at Ms. Llanos, but I did want to formally thank them. Caroline Middle School went to Dorney Park over the weekend. The students left at 3 in the morning, came back at 12, but we came back home with the first place trophy for our orchestra program. We also came home with the first place for CMS Band. We also came home with overall grand champ. And our drum line was able to perform on the sides with the Philadelphia Eagles drum line. And I just think, again, that is an awesome opportunity. So when I get a chance to share something positive, I would like to. As a matter of concern, I am constantly reminded of the economic state of a large percentage of our families. And so when the free and reduced lunch numbers came back up again, I like to put this at the forefront of this board's mind. This is the population that we serve. We're looking at numbers of 56 and 62% free and reduced lunch. This is why we have to advocate for our budget. This is why we have to advocate for funding to go into instruction. And this is why we have to empower our teachers. Because if you understand anything about poverty, you know that that comes with a lot of barriers, such as my mom has to go to work, I overslept and missed the bus, I don't have transportation, how am I getting to school? So I appreciate that attendance policy looking at a holistic view, and I think that's something in moving forward. And also, in light of the lack of funding and not able to provide the steps for teachers, it is going to become imperative that we continue programs like the ABCD Awards, programs like this Growth and Innovation Celebration. I think the beautiful thing about our board is the majority of us are educators, so we know for a fact that, you know, the money helps to pay the bills and provide, so that our staff are not actually the people who are benefiting from social service benefits. But we do know that a pat on the back, an opportunity to build our resumes, and to extend yourself professionally also goes a long way in this industry. So I would just like for us to remember that these things, although they're small and they have a little financial impact, they go a long way as far as return on investment. Thank you so much for your time. Those are my comments.
Does anyone else have something they'd like to say at this time? Dr. Parker, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'll be brief this evening. We just sent out a monthly update, superintendent's update for the month of April, and it's just really funny how fast the rest of the year is sliding out, and we're moving quickly to the end of the year. We'll be graduating our high school students on Friday, and it just seemed like it was yesterday when we were welcoming them to their senior year. I wanted to thank not only my staff, but also the board for your work, diligent work on this year's budget cycle. It was a very lengthy budget season, and this evening we've come to a conclusion to that with the passing of our FY18 budget. But I just wanted to say that we focused heavily on what do our students need. The question stayed at the forefront throughout the budget cycle. We did ask our constituents, our parents, our students, our staff, and our leaders in the school division, how can we make Caroline County better for students and for staff. Unfortunately, we didn't get everything that we needed to accomplish that work, but I still look at it as process and not an end result. I do believe that if we continue on the road that we're going, we'll continue to gain the confidence of our community and our students and our staff. We just had a presentation by our students today who wanted to improve the spirit and camaraderie at Caroline High School, and they had ideas on how they can make it a special place for everyone. Those are the types of things that I remember when I have difficult days and when we're not getting everything that we need through this budget cycle. I just remember that we have people who really want to do well in Caroline and who are committed to improving the school division, and I'm grateful for that. So I'd like to say that. I did get the band email on Saturday, and that was great work. I wish we would have remembered to grab our teacher before she left to recognize her for their accomplishments this weekend. But thank you all for all the hard work you've done this year, and let's go and celebrate some kids on Friday. I'm really looking forward to graduation.
At this time, we'll go into closed session to discuss personnel, the discussion of appointments, resignations, requests for family medical leave, retirements, voluntary transfers, summer school appointments, reappointments, a title change, a salary correction, an employment notification, a recession, a reassignment with a reduction in salary, salary adjustments, and a grade adjustment as authorized by Section 2.2-3711A 1 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
We will now go into closed session.